Chapter 3, The Fallout. Nova woke to the sound of her phone vibrating across the nightstand. She'd left it face down yesterday at noon, after the confession, after ending the stream. The afternoon had passed in a blur at her window, watching digital metropolis glow below while her career burned. Evening came with more messages, more fury, more consequences she couldn't face. She'd finally silenced the phone around midnight and collapsed into bed. Now it was morning, and the fire was still spreading. She reached for the phone, its screen lighting up with notifications. Hundreds of them, harsh blue glow against the gray morning light. Messages, comments, emails. The digital avalanche she'd triggered yesterday, still rolling with relentless momentum. 2.1 million followers when she'd gone to bed. She checked the number now, thumb hovering over the app icon. 1.8 million. 300,000 people had unfollowed overnight. 300,000 who'd trusted at Nova Glows, who'd bought the products she promoted, who'd believed in the carefully curated version of herself she'd sold them. Nova set the phone on the marble nightstand, its surface cold and smooth beneath her fingertips. Her apartment was quiet except for the hum of the city below. Car horns bleating faintly, sirens wailing in the distance, the low rumble of the subway beneath her building. The lavender diffuser sat silent on her desk. She'd unplugged it yesterday. No more manufactured calm, no more pretending. She stood and moved to the window, where morning light streamed across digital metropolis, pale and piercing. The same relentless sunshine that had illuminated yesterday's confession. The city didn't care that she'd destroyed her career. It just kept moving, people pouring through the streets below. Her phone buzzed again. A call this time. Manager. Nova stared at the screen. She'd ignored 4 calls yesterday, 7 texts, 2 emails. Her manager had gone from panic to fury to frantic strategic planning. The latest text, sent at 2 a.m., read, "We need damage control. Call me immediately." Nova declined the call, but the phone rang again immediately. Manager. Persistent. This time, Nova answered. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" Her manager's voice came sharp through the speaker, cutting through the quiet morning. No greeting, no pleasantries. Any idea at all? I told the truth. The words felt solid, final. She wasn't apologizing. You committed career suicide live on camera with 15,000 witnesses. Nova walked to her studio where the camera sat on her desk, dark and dormant. The products she'd planned to feature yesterday were still there. Lumina serums, moisturizers, foundation gleaming under a shaft of morning light. She'd pack them up today, send them back. The truth needed to be told, Nova said. The truth? Her manager's laugh was bitter, brittle. The truth is you just lost 300,000 followers. Lumina terminated your contract and is threatening legal action. 4 other brands dropped you overnight. Your inbox is full of lawyers, PR teams, and very angry people who want their money back. Nova's stomach tightened. Outside her window, she could hear the sharp blast of a taxi horn, someone shouting on the street below. Legal action? Breach of contract, defamation. They're exploring options. A pause, heavy with judgment. This is what happens when you go rogue, Nova. You had a good thing. You were making real money, and you threw it away for what? A moral epiphany? The words should sting. They were designed to sting. Instead, Nova felt strangely calm. Through the window, she watched a pigeon land on the neighboring building's ledge, its feathers ruffled by the breeze. I couldn't keep lying, she said. Everyone lies, Nova. It's called marketing. Then maybe marketing is the problem. Silence on the other end. Then, I can't work with you anymore. This is too much damage. I'm terminating our contract effective immediately. Nova caught her reflection in the dark laptop screen. Messy hair, no makeup, exhaustion written in the shadows under her eyes. For the first time in 3 years, she recognized the woman looking back at her. Okay, she said, but it wasn't defeat, just acceptance of a choice she'd already made. Okay? Her manager sounded shocked, voice rising an octave. That's it? Just okay? What else is there to say? Another pause. You're making a mistake, Nova, a huge one. You could have apologized, done damage control, salvaged something, but instead you're doubling down on this moral crusade. It's career suicide. Maybe. Nova picked up one of the Lumina products, a serum she'd promoted last month, calling it transformative. The bottle felt heavy in her palm, the glass cool and slick. But at least I can look at myself in the mirror. This moral crusade won't pay your bills. The call ended with a sharp click. Nova set the phone down, hands steady. No trembling, no panic. Just a strange, settled certainty that she'd done the right thing, even if it cost her everything. She walked back to the window and pressed her palm against the glass, warm from the sun, the heat seeping through to her skin. Below, digital metropolis hummed with morning activity. Delivery trucks rumbling through intersections, baristas cranking espresso machines in corner cafes, the rhythmic thud of construction somewhere in the distance. Her phone buzzed with a notification, her livestream analytics from yesterday. The confession video had been viewed 2.3 million times overnight. People were sharing it, commenting, dissecting every word. Some called her brave. Some called her a fraud who'd finally been exposed. Some said she should have stayed quiet and taken her medicine. But they were watching. They were listening. Nova opened her laptop, the screen flickering to life with a soft chime. She started reading through the comments, the messages, the reactions that filled her feeds like floodwater. Mixed in with the anger and disappointment, she found something else. Support. People thanking her for speaking up. People sharing their own stories about brands that had hurt them, lied to them, exploited them. People saying they'd been waiting for someone with a platform to tell the truth. One message stood out. "I work in environmental law. The Lumina case you mentioned, I'm helping prosecute it. Thank you for using your voice. We need more people willing to speak up, even when it costs them." Nova stared at the message, the cursor blinking beside it. Someone was listening, someone who mattered. Her phone rang again. Different name this time, Lila. Nova answered immediately, relief flooding through her chest. "Tell me you're okay," Lila said. No preamble, just concern threading through every syllable. I don't know what I am. Did you see the numbers? 300,000 unfollows. My manager quit. Lumina's threatening to sue. No. Lila's voice was firm, cutting through Nova's spiral. Not those numbers, the other ones. The people supporting you. The environmental groups sharing your video. The journalists reaching out for interviews. Nova blinked. Through the window, the morning sun painted the buildings across from her in shades of gold and amber. Journalists? 3 so far. They want to talk about influencer accountability, corporate greenwashing, the whole thing. Nova, you started a conversation, a big one. I started a disaster. You started a movement. The word hung in the air like smoke. Movement. It sounded too big, too important for what she'd done. She just told the truth. I lost 300,000 followers, Nova said quietly, watching a flock of birds wheel across the sky. You still have 1.8 million, and the ones who stayed? They're there because they believe in what you did. That's more valuable than followers who only cared about product recommendations. Nova walked to her studio and looked at the camera, its red light off. In its dark lens, she caught her reflection, not the polished Nova glows, but the real version she'd been hiding, raw and unfiltered. The woman she'd glimpsed in the laptop screen earlier, now looking back at her with something like resolve. "What do I do now?" she asked. "Whatever you want. But if you want my opinion, keep going. Double down. Use your platform to expose more of these companies. Show people the truth behind the pretty packaging and polished promises. My manager just fired me. I have no income. Lumina might sue me into oblivion. So get a new manager, one who believes in what you're doing. Find brands that actually align with your values. Build something real instead of profitable and poisonous." Nova sat in her studio chair, the same chair she'd sat in yesterday when she'd confessed. The marble desk felt cold under her palms, solid and unforgiving. "I'm scared," she admitted. "Good. If you weren't scared, it wouldn't matter." Lila's voice softened, warm and familiar. "Listen, I know this is terrifying, but you did something yesterday that most influencers would never have the guts to do. You told the truth when it was easier to lie. That matters, Nova. It really matters." They talked for a few more minutes. Lila offered to help however she could, connect Nova with ethical brands, research companies before she promoted them, anything. When they hung up, Nova felt something shift in her chest, like a weight sliding off her shoulders. Not relief exactly, not certainty, but possibility. She opened a new document on her laptop, the cursor blinking expectantly. She started typing, fingers finding their rhythm on the keys. 3 days ago, I promoted a Lumina beauty product to 2 million people. Yesterday, I confessed that I knew about their environmental violations and promoted them anyway. Today, I want to tell you what I'm going to do next. The words came easier now. No script, no brand approval. Just her thoughts, unfiltered and honest. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm not asking you to stay. But if you're still here, if you're still listening, I want to show you what I should have been showing you all along. The truth. She kept writing, outlining her next video, not a product review, not a sponsored post. A documentary-style investigation into beauty industry practices, environmental violations, the gap between marketing and reality. It might cost her more followers. It might get her sued. It might destroy what was left of her career. But it was real. Her phone buzzed with another notification, this one from a small, eco-conscious beauty brand she'd never worked with before. We saw your confession. We'd love to talk about a partnership. No scripted content. No product pushing. Just honest reviews and transparency. Interested? Nova stared at the message. A partnership. With a company that valued truth. She typed back, very interested. Nova spent the rest of the morning responding to messages, her fingers moving across the keyboard with new purpose, of the soft clicking filling the quiet apartment. The day passed in a blur of emails, outreach, planning. She packed up the Lumina products and arranged return shipping. She drafted responses to the journalists who wanted interviews. She outlined her next video, her next 10 videos, a whole new direction for her platform. By afternoon, the initial panic had transformed into something else. Focus, direction, purpose. She stood at her window as the sun climbed higher, while digital metropolis hummed below, traffic crawling through gridlocked streets, voices calling from sidewalks, the endless pulse of ambition thrumming through steel and concrete. Somewhere in that city, other influencers were filming sponsored content, promoting products they'd never researched, building careers on carefully curated lies. Nova had been one of them. She wasn't anymore. Her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Nova Sinclair? I'm Eli Carter, investigative journalist. I've been covering beauty industry malpractice for 5 years. Your confession was brave. I'd like to discuss collaborating on a deeper investigation into Lumina and similar companies. Interested in exposing more than just one brand? Nova read the message twice. An investigative journalist. Someone who'd been fighting this fight longer than she had. Someone with experience and connections. She typed back, "Yes. When can we meet?" The response came immediately. "Tomorrow. I'll send you an address." Nova set her phone down. Tomorrow she'd meet a journalist. Next week she'd post her first real investigation. Next month, maybe she'd actually make a difference. Or maybe she'd fail spectacularly, lose everything, end up back where she started. But at least she'd fail honestly. The camera sat on her desk, waiting patiently. Nova picked it up, felt its weight, solid and real in her hands. She'd used this camera to build a lie. Maybe she could use it to build something true. She positioned it on the tripod and opened her laptop. In the dark screen before it powered on, she caught her reflection once more. Tired, uncertain, but finally honest. The third time today she'd seen herself without the filter, and each time the image grew clearer. She held her own gaze for a moment, then pressed the power button. Started a new recording. The red light blinked on, steady and unblinking. "Hi, everyone." Her voice was steady, no waver or hesitation. "Yesterday I confessed to promoting products I knew were harmful. Today I want to tell you what I learned in the last 24 hours. She talked for 20 minutes with no script, no edits, just honesty about the fallout, the lost followers, the terminated contracts, the threats, the fear, and the support. The messages from people who'd been hurt by the same companies, the opportunities emerging from the ashes. When she finished, she uploaded the video without reviewing it. No polish. No performance, just truth. The comments started rolling in within minutes, notifications chiming like bells. "This is what we needed. Keep going, Nova. You're braver than you know." Mixed with the support were the critics, people calling her a hypocrite. People saying she was only doing this for attention. People angry that she'd profited for 3 years before suddenly developing a conscience. They weren't wrong, but she was trying to be better. Nova closed the laptop. The sun was setting now, afternoon bleeding into evening, painting the sky in shades of coral and violet. Her second day post-confession, and she was still standing. Broke, unemployed, threatened with legal action. but standing. She walked to the kitchen and made tea, the kettle whistling softly, steam rising. The apartment felt different now, less like a showroom, more like a home. The rose-gold accents that had screamed success now just looked like metal. The geometric art was just shapes. Everything that had meant achievement now meant nothing, except it did mean something. It meant she'd built all this on lies, and now she was building something new on truth. Her phone buzzed one more time with another message, this one from someone claiming to be from an environmental advocacy group. "We've been trying to raise awareness about Lumina for 2 years. Your video reached more people in 24 hours than we've reached in months. Would you consider partnering with us on a campaign?" Nova stared at the message, the words blurring slightly in her tired vision. An advocacy group, a real one, fighting for actual change. She typed back, "Yes." The replies kept coming. Opportunities, collaborations, people who wanted to work with the new version of @NovaGlows, the honest one. It wouldn't replace the income she'd lost. It wouldn't undo 3 years of lies, but it was a start. Nova walked back to her window where the city lights were coming on now. Digital metropolis transformed from daytime hustle to evening glow, windows flickering to lifelike stars against the darkening sky. Somewhere out there, people were watching her videos, reading her posts, deciding whether to trust this new version of her. She didn't know if they would, but she was going to keep trying. The camera sat on her desk, powered down now. Tomorrow she'd use it again. And the day after, and the day after that. No more performance, no more lies. Just Nova Sinclair, trying to do better. And for the first time in 3 years, that felt like enough.